Welcome into another episode of the Critics Collective. I am the Dad Panther. I'm here with Iris and Manny, and we're going to talk about an episode of the series for Atlanta. Now, we're going to dive into one episode. There may be some spoilers in here, but this came out in 2022. And for this episode, this is the fourth season, episode 8, and it has to do with Goofy. The title of this is The Goof Who Sat by the Door. So I'm going to tell you basically what this episode is about, and we're going from there. So, from what this episode for Donald Glover and the cast for Atlanta, it kind of runs in its own, similar to Black Mirror. You don't have to necessarily watch episode in order. It kind of goes on its flow. Now, there's an episode where they do this kind of like a Michael Jackson kind of thing, and that had people thinking. But for this one, what he does is he gives you a mockumentary, a fake documentary of a CEO that was hired for Disney back in the 90s, who's the first ever like Black CEO, and how the character Goofy has a completely different origin for what we know from it. So there is no rating for this show. There is no first impressions because you don't know it until it pops up on the screen. So we'll just kind of go into the feels of it. So we'll go with Iris first. So for this episode, what were the things that kind of grabbed your attention the most, I guess, about this episode?
I would have to say I liked I know it was supposed to be like a mockumentary of, the whole backstory on how the Goofy movie was created. But I have to tell you that I think they did such a good job. It felt so serious to me that it's like, I know it wasn't true, but it felt true. Like, I felt like I was like, no, they did their research. This is actual, like, this is for real. Even though in my logical brain is like, no, bitch, this is not real. We all know it was made by a very caucastic group. So no. But I don't know, like in my heart, I was like, this is so real. This is so true.
No, and what Iris is saying is 100% true. Like, if you haven't seen this episode, there's nothing really we can really say that will spoil anything. We recommend, I think we all collectively will recommend to watch this. From the very beginning, everything is not real. From the Disney logo, I don't know how they legally got away with this. Like, it's BAN, like I just put at the bottom. That was the network, like, that they put out there. And they cut it with the interviews and everything. So I can see how that happens is a thing that kind of grabs you and makes you say, this is what stood out. But Manny, what was it for you that stood out about this?
It is the whole part. It felt real. And if they didn't make a slight and a joke, like like that one episode where, in the episode where the guy's talking about Goofy, and he's like, Goofy's a nigga, right? And I was like,
he did.
Yeah,
he was in the break room.
Yeah. So it's like these one here and there they'll make a joke, but if they took out those few things, you were like, damn, is this a real documentary? And a lot of thing that stood out for me is like when they brought Brian McKnight in there. One thing he said about Devin Campbell, that everybody thought his name was Kevin Campbell, and the whole time I'm like, damn, I used to call him Kevin Campbell. I always thought his name was like these things. Like when you were growing up, they used to bring out these things. Like as a kid, remind you, damn, I used to do that. Damn, I thought of that. So it's like brought back a lot of childhood memory as far as this episode goes. So that stood out for me.
Yeah, to me, like it was interesting because it was unapologetically Black. That's the biggest thing that got me. It was 100% like they had Goofy eating a watermelon, and they wanted the guy to have a better thing. It was like there was even one point where, remember the artwork where they're like, Goofy, please, and damn well they were saying please, and they had Goofy with like a high top fade, and he looked like he had just got out of the White Man Can't Jump setting, and it just, everything they kept saying was like, it's 100, but come on now, like what Manny said, like, come on, like, you know damn well he was. and just the fact that like what Iris said, they made it so realistic, and they were telling you with facts, like this is what it is. Like ever since he was little, he just wanted to do this, and he just wanted this opportunity. As soon as he got this chance, he wasn't gonna let it go. He wasn't gonna let it go. So now that we went on that big moment of like what really got us on that episode.
No, one thing that stood out to me too when
okay, go for it.
When they were talking about, you know, how they were trying to get rid of him because of how he got the job. Because I know black people do that. You say you got a certain amount of money, but they actually offered him more money. So I was like, that's I do that.
And that's what I mean. Like even when they were doing the casting and everything, they were trying to say who they were trying to talk to. And you had Deborah, who was 40, but you had all the younger people that were coming in and trying to get the roles. And it was like, even they were making it, in my opinion, at one point, like this was the truth. Like, again, it kind of goes back to what Iris was saying. At what point does it seem that it's fake? Like, I'm sure somebody right now is walking around saying this is 100% true. You can't tell me nothing different.
Because they don't know.
Okay, so I'm sure, is there anything anybody had anything that was bad where they were like, man, I wish they wouldn't have had that in there?
Nah, I don't think so. I think for a mockumentary, they hit the, you know, they hit the mark. It's like you said, unless you're not paying attention to the joke, you're gonna believe it's real. Like here and there, you get a few jokes, but if you're not paying attention to those things, you're gonna think it's real. But I think they hit the mark because, again, the Goofy movie was a staple in the black community, and I truly believe that we made that movie more popular than what it was supposed to be.
Okay, well, see, with that being said, like we're gonna do another video, give or take, if we get 3 likes. So 3 likes, we'll come back and we'll talk about a Goofy movie, or maybe a Goof Troop, or the actual documentary that's coming out for it. Iris, did you have anything that you thought maybe was like, they didn't execute this part right?
I would say the only thing that kind of was like, you know, like I know they had thrown in jokes here and there, but I thought like it blended well. But at the very end, I felt that it was a little slapstick kind of comedy. When they see the evidence, that they're showing you clips of the evidence of what was in the water, and you see the Goofy glove and the Goofy shoes, and I'm like, really? I mean, you guys were doing so well. I don't know. It didn't really work too well for me for the vibe that it was giving throughout the whole, you know, the whole episode. And then at the end, it's like they got a little too silly with it, you know, that last couple clips of the evidence. And I was like, I don't know if that was necessary, you know. But just to add one more thing in regards that really made it feel real for me is when they mentioned mental health, because during that time period, that's not something that was discussed like that, you know. So I felt like they threw in such a serious topic into this that also fed into this believing in this make-believe world, like, yo, this is real. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that because I felt like that really touched for me. Because it's true, you know, back in the 90s, you know, there wasn't much about like, mental health and the positive way of handling your mental health and, you know, coping mechanics, you know, that wasn't something that was really discussed as much as it is now, you know. So yeah.
No, you're hitting on it, because there was even a part of masculinity in the black community where they were doing Live in Color, 2 Snaps Up, all that stuff, because one of the boys said to their grandmother or somebody like, the Goofy movie's made about me, and the kid was being serious about it, and then the mom or the grandmother was like concerned, like, I don't know if he really knows the difference, like it's not about you, it's not you. But it's crazy because if you have kids or nephews and nieces, when they watch these kid movies, regardless what they are, they believe they're the person from Frozen, regardless of their skin color. They believe they're a Star Wars character in a galaxy far, far away. So in the community, it's crazy because you're not allowed to feel that, to think that. So even though he's like, I believe it, the adults like, I don't know if the person's crazy or not. But the thing that I picked up on that I thought was cool was they were taking everything that I think, at least I was the only one to say that's black, was when Max is over there doing the moonwalk, and they talked about that. He over there, he dunks the ball and he goes and touches the girl, Maxine or Roxanne, whatever her name is, and he touches her, and they're like, that's somebody black. He's over there, he's got charisma, he risen. Like nobody else is sitting there doing that. They wish they can do that, but they're not gonna do that. Or like look how curvish the girl that his love interest was. They're like, come on now. She was either black or Spanish, man. She was either, there was either something in there. She Puerto Rican, Dominicana, she was black. Something was in there. I don't know.
I was like, she Latina, don't play. And she got that red hair, like they always dye in their hair.
Little Mariah Carey mole that she was sitting there with. Her and Lola could have been talking it up. And nobody would look any different about it. So it was like, to me, it validated a lot of the stuff that we talked about in the community. And so that's how I looked at it. If you could say one reason where you would recommend this to somebody else, why would you recommend this, Manny?
One reason, it just for that slight nostalgic feeling, and if you want to laugh about it, and you get these few hints like that'll remind you like how the movie made you feel as a black person, or Latino or whatever, when you were growing up watching it. Because a few of the jokes they make in that episode, it's like, damn, I actually thought about that when I was watching the movie or after the fact, because it was like, so yeah, that's definitely one reason. It will bring back memories of you watching the movies.
What about you, Iris?
Yeah, definitely would recommend it because of the fact that, the nostalgia of it, and the fact that, it kind of reminds me of like a what if, like, hey, what if Kevin Lima wasn't the person who handled this, and that other gentleman, Jeffrey, that ended up getting fired.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, yeah. You never know.
What if it didn't go that way? What if it actually went down this path? I feel like, you can really connect to the story as a person of color, like, oh, okay, yeah, like this whole story is realistic. This is something that could really happen. Even with the little jokes that they may have thrown in here and there, it really didn't like wash it out as it really didn't feel like how they're describing it as a mockumentary. Like it didn't feel like it was mocking anything.
Okay.
I really do, it felt like, hey, this is a what if. What if there's a possibility that instead of it going the way it did, it went left. Someone of color took over, and this is how the storyline could have gone. And how, he was trying to make something, great, even though some of the things he wanted to put in there wasn't really Disney oriented.
No, not at all.
At all. But, what he was trying to do gets taken from him. That it ends up just mentally messing with him because he's trying to
change everything.
Yeah. So yeah, like I would definitely enjoy it as just like, as a thinker, like.
To me, I like, if I could tell somebody, hey, why would you watch this? Why would I recommend it? It would be because the over the top part is kind of what we need for the conversation. There's a part in here where they talk about, oh man, because you got a black CEO. They were talking about the partying. Now, it's luckily they didn't say Diddy parties because that wouldn't have aged well. But they started talking about, man, we had everybody in there. We had Sinbad there, and they're just going through the guest list. Eddie Murphy was at the party. It's like picture the Disney party after the Lion King. You know what I'm saying? Like they're just making like Iris said, like an alternate universe. Because if this happened, this is what would happen. And to go with what Iris said is the alternate universe, even though they're playing a joke and there's a little realism in there, is the guy who used this as a project, and we talk about in the documentary, if he doesn't get fired or quit or leave, however that happened, and goes and does his own thing for DreamWorks and stuff, you don't have the battle that Disney had to duke out for decades, going against them with Shrek and just back and forth, like literally on the same weekend, dropping fucking movies and then come together and see a lot of these companies working together. So it's just an interesting take to do that. Now, I will say this before we get out of here. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here with us. We greatly appreciate that. Hit the follow button, like, subscribe, all that other stuff. Once again, you could have been anywhere in the world and you chose to be here. We talked about one episode out of the many episodes for Atlanta. Check it out. It's streaming right now on FX Hulu. Until next time, click allow.